You know how to play cartels? There's cartel somewhere. It's you just have to count it 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Girivara Dhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Girivara Dhari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Madhava Radha Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Gaur Pimanandi. Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Pri Vrajagacharya Stotra Satta Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhai Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Skandiviti, Founder Acharyas, Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki, Prem Se Gaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki, Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinata Shamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana Ki, Sri Vrindavan Mathura Dhama Ki, Sri Dwarka Dhama Ki, Sri Jagannath Puri Dhama Ki, Sri Navadip Mayapur Dhama Ki, Sri Mayapur Chandradev Mandir Ki, Gangamai Jamunmai Ki, Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki, Harinama Sankirtan Ki, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki, Dainitai Gaura Pimanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and to Sri Gauranga, all glories to Sri Prabhupada Ki. We have a few more customers. Welcome to everyone. Can you come a little closer if possible. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya, and if anyone needs to sit on the, you can sit. Yeah. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurinmiritam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabhadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakan Vitamscha Hai Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutidevi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Shaiva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us first offer our respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Nara, Narayana Rishi, the Supremost Human Being, unto Mother Saraswati, the Goddess of Learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta Praya Shabadrishu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed practically to nil, and loving devotional service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, it becomes established as an irrevocable effect. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahmasamitam Uttama-shloka Charitam Chakara Bhagavan Rishi Nishreyasaya Lokasya Dhanyam Swasyayanam Mahat. This Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God, Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Surabhyai Namah Om Surabhyai Namah Om Surabhyai Namah Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim Yat kripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam Yat kripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. We are fortunate to get an opportunity to read, to hear from Srimad Bhagavatam, and we kind of just chanced upon the following verse, which is a verse that we recite every morning, as we did a few minutes ago, from the first canto, chapter 2, which is entitled Divinity and Divine Service. Very important and instructive chapter. So you can repeat after me. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayet. We will go directly to the translation and the purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Translation. Before reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayana, unto Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. You can kindly repeat after me. Before reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayana, unto Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Purport. All the Vedic literatures and the Puranas are meant for conquering the darkest region of material existence. The living being is in the state of forgetfulness of his relation with God due to his being overly attracted to material sense gratification from time immemorial. His struggle for existence in the material world is perpetual, and it is not possible for him to get out of it by making plans. If he at all wants to conquer this perpetual struggle for existence, he must re-establish his eternal relation with God. And one who wants to adopt such remedial measures must take shelter of literatures such as the Vedas and the Puranas. Foolish people say that the Puranas have no connection with the Vedas. However, the Puranas are supplementary explanations of the Vedas intended for different types of men. All men are not equal. There are men who are conducted by the mode of goodness, others who are under the mode of passion, and others who are under the mode of ignorance. The Puranas are so divided that any class of men can take advantage of them and gradually regain their lost position and get out of the hard struggle for existence. Srila Sutta Goswami shows the way of chanting the Puranas. This may be followed by persons who aspire to be preachers of the Vedic literatures and the Puranas. Srimad Bhagavatam is the spotless Purana, and it is especially meant for them who desire to get out of the material entanglement permanently. Translation again. Before reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayana, unto Narayana Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. We actually recite this particular verse and a few others every day when we have Bhagavatam class, as the verse very nicely explains, and the purport given by Srila Prabhupada. All those who come in the material world, they are designated as Nitya Baddha. Nitya means, of course, eternal. Baddha means condition. Until and unless we come in contact with Vedic knowledge, we remain in that conditioned state, which is basically influenced, very heavily influenced by the three modes of material nature. And especially in Kali Yuga, where we are now, the two most the two modes of material nature that especially are obvious and heavily influencing people are the mode of passion and the mode of ignorance. So all of the Vedic literatures and Prabhupada, well, of course, it is Sutta Goswami making the point here. Not only the original Vedas are those revealed by Lord Krishna to Lord Brahma. This happens at the beginning of every creation. But there are supplementary literatures, such as the Puranas. Very interesting, actually, how one of our foremost acharyas in our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, one of the 6 Goswamis appointed by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to deeply study the Vedic literatures. He speaks about the importance, he highlights the very unique position of the Srimad Bhagavatam. I'm referring to Srila Jiva Goswami. Of the 6 Goswamis, Srila Jiva Goswami was, I believe, the youngest, and because he was a nephew of Rupa and Sanatan Goswami. But he became actually the foremost and the greatest philosopher of his times, and even that is recognized by those who study his literatures. In particular, he wrote many books. All of the Goswamis, they wrote many literatures, and the foremost written by Srila Jiva Goswami is referred to as Satsandarbhas. There are 6 books that deal with the subject matter of tattva. Tattva is another concept or another word. Just like yesterday we spoke about dharma. Dharma is, without dharma we cannot understand how to bring an end to the miserable condition in which all living entities in the material world find themselves in. And dharma without tattva is also, it's intimately connected. Tattva is what our acharyas especially focus on, because tattva means knowing, understanding, realizing what is actually reality, what especially is the absolute truth. And this has been, if we look at all of our acharyas, Vaishnava acharyas, our Vaishnava acharyas have focused on the Srimad Bhagavatam. When Srila Prabhupada wrote the commentary, these purports of the Srimad Bhagavatam, he studied, he read, and he included in the purports many of the commentaries of the previous acharyas. And the point I wanted to make regarding Srila Jiva Goswami, he mentioned something very interesting which maybe is not so well known by many many people, even sometimes many of our devotees. We know that the Vedas are the original knowledge, isn't it? Revealed by Lord Krishna to Lord Brahma, as I mentioned a few minutes ago. But he establishes, Srila Jiva Goswami, that because now we are in Kali Yuga, and to properly understand the original Vedas, one needs to know Sanskrit. And there are different levels of Sanskrit. There's like the regular day-to-day, you could say conversational Sanskrit, that pretty well anyone can learn. But then there is the highest level of Sanskrit, which is only known to a few brahmanas, especially nowadays in Kali Yuga. And the original Vedas were written in that language. And since most people don't know that language, so we don't have access. We don't have actually access to the original Vedas, number one. And secondly, those Vedic literatures that were put into writing by Srila Vyasadeva 5,000 years ago, 90% of those literatures are no longer existing today. Because of, just imagine, we're just in the beginning of Kali Yuga. 5,000 years have elapsed, have gone by, and there's 427,000 years left in Kali Yuga. So if at the very beginning of Kali Yuga, 90% of the Vedic writings are gone, we can just imagine how it's going to be by the end of Kali Yuga. So in the first of his Satsandarbhas, which is called Tattva Sandarbha, Srila Jiva Goswami explains something which is, in one sense, we use the expression mind-blowing. I mean, it's something that's maybe immediately not so easy to understand. But he makes the following statement, that although the Vedas are the original knowledge revealed by the Lord, because it is not available and not accessible, the Srimad Bhagavatam, composed by Srila Vyasadeva, for us, for all of us in Kali Yuga right now, is more important than the original Vedas. Because Srila Vyasadeva is not an ordinary person. He is described here actually as being the literary incarnation. He's directly the Lord himself, and therefore he has revealed in this particular Purana, it is referred to as the spotless Amala Purana, pure, spotless Purana. And he has revealed, especially in the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam, the highest realm, the highest level of transcendental knowledge, which is, of course, intimately, directly connected with the pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan. So that's why Vrindavan, for Vaishnavas, is so important. And as I was touching on a little bit yesterday, Vrindavan village not only reveals to us, to the world, these topics of, it's a whole science. Well, we have a whole book written by another of the Goswamis of Vrindavan, Srila Rupa Goswami, called Bhakti Rasa Amrita Sindhu, Bhakti Rasa Amrita Sindhu, Nectar of Devotion. And that brings us to the highest realm of transcendental realization, which is referred to as prema, Krishna prema, or pure love of Krishna. So this verse is explaining how actually this knowledge of the Srimad Bhagavatam is our means of conquest. It's our means of conquest individually, personally, in terms of how to become freed from this entanglement with the modes of material nature. And actually, later on in this particular chapter, it is very, in 5 simple verses, Srila Sutta Goswami, who has spoken the Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj, very nicely summarizes this whole scientific process by which we can become totally freed from these modes of material nature. It is these modes of material nature, even the mode of goodness, which is keeping us here in the material world. Because the mode of goodness is always influenced also by the mode of passion and the mode of ignorance. And therefore, this is nicely explained how we need to gradually rise at least to the mode of goodness. And it is when we are situated in the mode of goodness, that's a verse that's coming up later on here, evam prasanamanaso bhagavat bhakti yogataha bhagavat tattva vijnana mukta sangasya jayate. So when the mind, manasa, evam prasanamanaso, when the mind becomes peaceful, satisfied, so that means firmly established in the mode of goodness, then we can begin to properly, nicely take up the process of Bhagavat Bhakti, Bhakti, devotional service to Krishna. And as soon as a living entity begins to engage in activities of bhakti, then Krishna, who is situated in the heart of all living entities, notices that, understands that, and he begins to reciprocate, isn't it? Until until we come to the mode of goodness, Krishna is not inclined. Because we know nothing, and being in these lower modes of material nature means being engaged in all kinds of sinful activities, isn't it? So we can only attract the attention of Krishna if at least we come to the mode of goodness, and begin even simple activities of bhakti devotional service. Then Bhagavat Tattva Vijnanam, that's most important. Tattva, we're talking about Tattva, and Vijnanam. We can acquire some ordinary knowledge, Jnanam. But Vijnanam is something that is bestowed, that is revealed by the grace and the mercy of the Lord. And by this Bhagavat Tattva Vijnanam, then this leads us on the path of mukta, full liberation from this permanent entanglement in which we find ourselves. The word Nitya-baddha, as I mentioned earlier, is used to define the condition. Of course, the living entity is not eternally conditioned, but he's been conditioned in the material world for such a long time that it seems like it is eternal. So it is not like in Christianity, for example, one has only one opportunity, right? It's like there's creation, and then existence, and then annihilation. And before the annihilation comes, if one has not seen the truth, one will be eternally damned. This Christian understanding, either you're saved or you're damned. because it's like that's an imperfect or incomplete understanding. It's a linear, what is called linear understanding of time, of history. Whereas in our Vedic literatures, in the Vedic culture, time, that's one of the five tattvas actually in the Bhagavad Gita, Kala, Krishna's time. So time is actually cyclic, isn't it? The yugas come and go. The days come and go. After night there is morning, fortunately. Then the whole day goes, then there's night, then again another day. So that's a more reasonable way. It means that even though I may not finish my business in this lifetime, if I have performed some kind of pious activities, then I will get an opportunity again in next life. So therefore, the importance of ourselves coming in contact, taking advantage of the importance of these literatures, and especially that's in many ways our main mission in life. We have two missions which are directly connected with one important instruction given by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Janma sartak kori kora pada upakar. Individually, we should be endeavoring to become freed from this entanglement, which is actually the cause of our suffering. No one likes to suffer, obviously. But most people don't know what is the means by which to put an end to that suffering. And of course, it's the cultivation of knowledge, proper association with like-minded individuals. And it begins especially with, as we are doing, as we are meant to do every day, every morning, Srinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Sravana Kirtana, hearing these subject matters to gradually awaken within our hearts what is the actual reality in which we find ourselves. And so we have to go from Nitya Baddha to Nitya Mukta. Nitya Mukta, eternally liberated personalities. And that can happen actually even before we leave this body. This science is such that by cultivating the science of bhakti or devotion, even while in the material world, it's a question of developing that consciousness. So it doesn't really matter where we may be. Here we are in Kamloops. So Kamloops is far away from Vrindavan, but actually Vrindavan is here because the Lord is here, devotees are here, Bhagavatam is here, the chanting and the hearing, whenever those activities are performed. This was nicely explained by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that Vrindavan is where the heart is, where our mind is, isn't it? So we can be anywhere in the material world if we have this knowledge, if we have the process, especially now in Kali Yuga, the Yuga Dharma being the chanting of the holy name. And this is, I believe in the 12th canto of the Bhagavatam, Kaler dosha nidhe rajan asti hiyeka mahan guna kirtana deva krishnasya mukta sangha param prajat. That in this age of Kali, it is described as being an ocean of faults, an ocean of problems. I think we can all relate to that. So many difficulties and so many complications, etc. That is why Kali Yuga is there. Kali Yuga is especially the most difficult of all ages, but there is that great unique opportunity of taking shelter of the holy name, and in this way we can sever that hard knot of these modes of material nature and become again reconnected and reunited with our real self and real identity. And I'll just finish on this point. This becomes easier when we not only associate with devotees, but when we actually live with devotees. And that's why it's so important. Srila Prabhupada put a lot of importance on establishing communities, devotee communities, and automatically that comes when we understand the importance of reviving, we could call it Vedic villages, reviving Vedic villages. Vedic culture means villages are, that same term Prabhupada also used, Gita Nagari. Gita Nagari is that place or that village, that community where one is living according to the instructions given in the Bhagavad Gita. Yeah. I will read the text again for those who just came now, so that they have the benefit of the, I won't read the purport, but the verse. Yeah. So this is text number 4. Very well known verse. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narotamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayat. And the translation as follows: before reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayana, unto Narayana Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. So Prabhupada in the purport especially is elaborating on this aspect of the Srimad Bhagavatam being the means of conquest, and Srimad Bhagavatam being one of the 18 Puranas. There are 18 Puranas. There are 6 Puranas are especially for those in the mode of goodness, 6 Puranas for those in the mode of passion, and 6 Puranas in the mode of ignorance. And therefore there are Puranas for everyone. And of all of these Puranas, the topmost Purana, most important, is the Bhagavat Purana, also known as Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Questions or comments? Yes.
Maharaj, what would you recommend for those who desire to establish farm community or have some land and cultivate the land? What would be your first suggestions?
So, what's the question again?
For those who have access or the ability to cultivate land.
Those who don't have access?
Those that have access,
Yeah.
the ability to cultivate land, what would you suggest?
Oh, do it. One should try to understand how this is very much core and I would say foundational in many ways to reviving the Vedic culture. And therefore, those who have the possibility of doing this, well, one cannot do that so easily, depending on one's background, I suppose. And of course, for the majority of us today, who may not be coming from that kind of background, before, as they say, jumping into it, one needs to learn and prepare oneself. And there are different ways in which to do that. Definitely, in our Vedic culture, proper training is highly emphasized. From early life, generally, when Vedic culture is in place, that training automatically is there, as explained by Prahlad Maharaj. From the age of 5, the first education is given by the parents up until the age of 5, and then generally, if one is from especially Brahmana family or Kshatriya family, one goes to Gurukul, or otherwise in the other Varnas, one begins to take up, like in the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam, 10, 11, 37 to be precise. You can read it later on. It's a very nice purport by Srila Prabhupada. That chapter is describing the daily activities of Krishna. And text 37 specifically explains that when Krishna reached the age of approximately 5, 6, 7, he was given the responsibility of looking after the small calves. And Prabhupada explains that actually this is Vedic education. This is Vedic education for those who are not, because Krishna was not playing the role of a Brahmana or Kshatriya at that time. He was the son of Nanda Maharaj, who was a Vaishya. So there are books in our Vedic literatures that deal with the subject matter of, for example, agriculture. There are books that deal with the subject matter of VRIKSHA, cow protection. we were discussing briefly yesterday about this Chaturvidya, 4 sciences. And so it's a question of actually, Srila Prabhupada in his vision basically gave us the method by which to gradually go in that direction, revive gradually. In other words, the more we understand how we are basically going in the wrong direction, modern day society, then in different ways it can begin with our backyard or front yard. It can begin wherever we may be to reconnect. We have many devotees who are knowledgeable in how to farm, and how to care for cows. There was recently in India. There's I think it's called Krishna Television something. They were every week interviewing different devotees on the subject matter of cow care and cow protection. Now, this may not immediately be obvious or possible to have a cow. Well, in cities you cannot because of different regulations that are there. But that's, at some point, the presence of cows with land is like essential. That's an important essential component. So one can open communication with people who are doing, who have taken up these activities. One can visit places where devotees are taking that up. I was just hearing this morning a podcast, actually. Some of the disciples of Bhakti, because Maharaj just quite recently purchased 600 acres of land in Tennessee, in the U.S., yeah. I mean, they were before in Atlanta. They had a nice facility, etc. But it's, we need more of our devotees to start really, very seriously thinking about this, and not only thinking about it, but making concrete plans to actually, I would say, as soon as possible, because for 2 reasons. One is that, the impending collapse of modern civilization. We are there now. We're there now. Of course, the main reason we should be doing that, even though that impending collapse would not be present, the main reason we should do this is that the more we live as Krishna intended us to live, and as he demonstrated in Vrindavan, then this will facilitate. As a matter of fact, Prabhupada uses the word, this will what's the word that he uses? This will more quickly help us advance in spiritual life. Yeah. And therefore, anyone who comes in contact with this knowledge, we know that it's to our advantage to more quickly advance, so that we can resolve our main problems here in the material world, and mainly and primarily we can more quickly, develop our love for Krishna, which is the ultimate goal of life, is to reconnect and reinstate ourselves in our original spiritual position. We have yet to understand and realize how important this is, and how very much it is, I would say, a central aspect of our of our mission that Prabhupada spoke about. Otherwise, why would he say that 50% of my mission has yet to be fulfilled, isn't it? And until and unless that happens, then we will continue to have this kind of totally chaotic situation in the world today. I just reconnected. I might have mentioned yesterday, I have a cousin in BC who's a farmer. So I just reconnected with him yesterday. And he's about 500 kilometers from Kamloops, I came to know. He told me what's the name of the place. You might know the place. So he'd been doing that for quite some time, and it's kind of interesting. Let's see, yeah. The name of the place is, I'm not sure if I can pronounce it properly, Crawford Bay. Crawford Bay. It's 500 kilometers from Kamloops, I think, on the way towards Alberta, I suppose. Because there's no 500 kilometers on the west side. And it's not north also. And if it's south, you end up in the U.S. I guess, yeah.
So it's near Nelson.
Huh? Near Nelson.
Yeah, down south.
So how far would that be from the border? I mean, from Alberta border?
It's with Kimberley, so Cranbrook. I would say, Maharaj, like an hour and a half.
Oh, quite close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Close to the border.
Quite close.
And even U.S. border, he's just an hour from U.S. border.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah.
Hour and a half from U.S. border.
So Jayadev, you have to write that in your book, in your calendar, in your diary. It's called Crawford Bay. Okay? One day we have to visit. We have open invitation. Come anytime. I met, the last time I saw him was in Toronto. God, maybe in the early 90s. I was with devotees. I think we were on Yonge Street. You know, Yonge Street is the most important street where devotees perform Harinam. And we were sitting on the sidewalk, you know, playing instruments, chanting Hare Krishna. And he walks along, hey, my uncle, sitting on Yonge Street chanting Hare Krishna.
He recognized you.
Yeah. But I've not seen him since a long time. And somehow I'm curious to know what attracted him to kind of become a farmer, basically, to have. He doesn't have a large piece of land, and I don't know what else he does. But anyways, just like recently also in northern Ontario, one of my nieces, she sends me a message. She's in Thunder Bay. I don't know if you know Ontario. It's quite north, actually. It's on the way to Winnipeg, and it's about a little over 1,000 kilometers from Sudbury. Anyways, so she bumped into devotees, and she went to the temple also. She sent me a picture of her in the temple with the devotee, and behind them is a nice big picture of Prabhupada. So it's kind of like, you know, gradually more and more people are, of course, coming in contact with devotees and coming in contact with the Srimad Bhagavatam. So there are many things, of course, and initially it may seem like, you know, how to do this, which is maybe the question you're asking, you know, where to start, or so we have to find out who's doing what and how to gradually. We can start. You might be even doing it now. I mean, you have land.
In the backyard even.
Okay, yeah, right. Because actually, I mean, looking after land, growing food, looking after, they're both, they're both very deep sciences. They're sciences. And when Vedic culture is existing, people automatically know so many things. And the opposite is there. When that Vedic culture is not there, then we are kind of lost. Because we just don't have a lot of that knowledge. I mean, we're just, living so far removed from the way we should be, and therefore, but it's possible, and we should be all making some effort to do that.
I have one question, Maharaj. Do you think Vastu is also relevant?
Absolutely.
Is it
Yes. Yeah, Vastu is very relevant.
just as astrology and Ayurveda?
Yeah. Whenever I enter a room, if I'm going to be staying there, I find out where is north, because one should not sleep with the head north.
That's the first thing I also check out. Yes.
It's like, the two north poles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when we sit, we should face east or north. We should be facing east or north.
Facing east or north.
Yeah, unless our deity is there, then you can face the deities. Then, yeah. So there are many things regarding Vastu connected with land. Land should be, for example, what do you call it? Land should be like the downside of your land should be east, not west. If your downside is west, it's going to take a long time for the sun to come there. If your downside is east, you immediately get the sun rays. So there's so many considerations like that. You plant trees on the west and the south because you don't want to block the sun rays. If you have trees in the east, your east should always be open, east and north. If you want to purchase land, you should at all costs purchase any land available on the east side. Many things.
Facing east side, or like the entrance to the east side, or
entrance should be east side.
Entrance should be east
side. Yeah. These are all bona fide and important sciences that are there, and that's part of this Chaturvidya. That's part of what why Srila Prabhupada wanted we establish Varnashram colleges, so that these traditional Vedic sciences be taught. And so that's why before we move somewhere or start something, we need to know what we're getting into. Yeah. Same thing for house. Most homes are problematic because people in the West don't know about Vastu. So they'll put the kitchen in the wrong place, they'll put the bathroom in the wrong place. And, it's like, welcome home, and your home is already upside down. So naturally you'll become upside down. So all of these subtle energies are at work. That's the one, wonderful nature of Krishna's creation. Whatever he creates, he creates perfectly. And it's up to us to know what are the rules, what's the system. And the more we harmonize our lives and live according to the natural flow of energy that is there, then that helps us physically and mentally, emotionally, in all respects. Yeah. We have many things to learn in life.
So much to learn.
Yeah. But that's a wonderful thing, because Krishna consciousness is like a never-ending process of learning more and more. And when we learn things, then, oh, okay, we appreciate, we understand, and it's ultimately to our benefit. Yeah. In Vedic culture, there's a nice expression that life is education, and education is life. Never-ending process. Okay. Jai Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki. We have some flowers for our two young attendees. Today I would like to give you some flowers. You gave me flowers yesterday. Yes. Jai, that's more than, yes. And Haribol. Yeah, give to mommy. Jai, Haribol. More flowers. Falling from Svargaloka. Bienvenue. Welcome. Just in time. Yeah. So Jai Dev. Yeah, normally I shut it off, I didn't.